Hey there, everyone. This is Dracus360, and I hope you're all doing well. And if you're in my part of the world, New Year, the New Year is about a day away. And so it's a time of reflection, looking back on the past, looking ahead to the future, and looking to see where I can improve in my own life and what goals I can set for myself in the coming year. So that's the headspace I'm in as I come to you guys today with today's update video. You may be able to tell I'm speaking a bit more off the cuff, stream of consciousness. In the past, I would write a script for myself so I could keep on track and prevent myself from going on tangents and rambling. And it served that purpose, but it also caused me to... I listened back to a couple of those updates in the past, and, well, they feel very unnatural and rehearsed and mechanical, and today I kind of want to be a bit more of a heart-to-heart between me and you guys and have just a candid discussion about the state of the channel, the state of the channel's big project, which is Where We Cannot Go, what progress was made on Where We Cannot Go in 2024, as well as what we hope to get done in 2025. That's the purpose of this video. If you don't know what Where We Cannot Go is, I refer you back to other update videos I've done in the past. It's the big project of the channel right now, and it's the main preoccupation. So with that said, we'll jump right in. And if any of you guys are still watching, even after the channel has been seemingly dead, I know it seems dead or on life support, but it is still here, still working. And yeah, I appreciate you your guys staying invested in the channel, keeping the subscription. It means the world to me. So let's go ahead and dive right into the main issue that the channel is focused on, and that is Where We Cannot Go. Now, I will confess to you guys that 2024, while we did get a lot done for Where We Cannot Go, it was not nearly as much as I had hoped to get done in this year, frankly. And I'm angry at myself for that. I'm angry that I didn't manage my time better. I'm angry that that I let life get a hold of me. I'm angry that I let other pastimes, other competing hobbies and stuff take time away from Where We Cannot Go. I'm angry about that. And I just want to let you guys know where I'm coming from with that. Now, I don't want to beat up myself too much because we did get a lot of stuff done. There were a couple of outdoor scenes that were very difficult and required very specific conditions to film. There was an opportunity where those conditions were present. Got that scene filmed. It was tough, but got it in the bag. That's done, and I feel really good and glad that it's done. So that was some good progress. But there are two more remaining outdoor sequences that are pretty challenging. They are long, they're involved, they have a lot of moving parts, and they're tough. They're very tough to film. The first of those scenes, and I alluded to this in a previous update video, the first of those scenes was something that I did attempt to film maybe about a year or two ago, and environment conditions prevented me from completing it. I got about halfway done with the sequence, then weather happened, and it rendered all the footage I had useless. I had to scrap everything, and now I will have to start from scratch to refilm that all entirely. That was a sequence that I need to get some time off from work to film. It's not often that I can get time off from work, and so I'm waiting for another opportunity to get that block of time off from work to jump back in and reattempt it again in 2025. Essentially, it was a combination of wind and rain that resculpted the landscape that I was filming in and just changed it beyond recognition. And so it was a blow. Honestly, it was a blow losing that footage. A lot of work went into it, and it was tough. It was tough. And a lot of good shots were captured in it, and it was sad to see it go. But not giving up. I will find another way. I have some backup locations and some other places I've scouted that I think would make good places to refilm the material. So yeah, there's hope. There's plenty of hope. But it was a blow. And I had a similar issue with another scene that I filmed when I attempted to film the other outdoor scene. I had a similar problem where just the environment rendered what I had worthless. And I have to say that when those blows happen, they take a lot of the wind out of your sails. And I think a lot of that I just was I guess exhausted with Where We Cannot Go this year, and there was an element of losing momentum with Where We Cannot Go that contributed to not getting as much done as I wanted to this year, and that's just fact. That's just the reality. And I guess relatedly, on that note, I have had to learn through some of these setbacks in Where We Cannot Go, and just the amount of time that Where We Cannot Go takes to film. I've had to learn an unpleasant truth about myself, and that is that I have what's the phrase? Flights of fancy, whatever. I tend to be seized by certain ideas or certain, oh wow, I could do this. I could do this project. I could do this project. And I tend to start a bunch of projects without finishing them, or get the idea, oh, I could do all these projects and still have time to do work and keep my sanity and exercise and No. There's a limit to that. I have a bandwidth, and I can stretch it too thin. And in a previous update video, I talked about how I was doing stuff like Twitch streaming for a while. I was, dabbling a little bit in that. There were some ideas I had for other content completely unrelated to Lego and Bionicle. Like I wanted to do like video essays about topics I was interested in. I like listening to video essays. I thought I had some things to say about certain topics I was interested in, but it's too much. It was too much to do, and so I've really been forced to reckon with my own limits in terms of what I can take on, and the things that I can sacrifice in my life, or the hobbies and projects I can give up in my life, and the things that I can't, the things that I'm never going to forgive myself if I don't complete them. So Twitch streaming, it was fun. I was inspired by my friend Alex, my collaborator on Where We Cannot Go. He's an avid Twitch streamer, and you should check out his streams. They're a lot of fun. I was inspired to do them, and I had, decent turnout here and there, but it was never a whole lot, and I often put way too much. I did a lot of like planning, and I did some goofy, skits and things, and fun little games and stuff on my Twitch streams, but it was a lot of work for not a lot of return. And I have to tell you, in a way, Where We Cannot Go was always in the back of my mind while doing that stuff. I thought, I guess this is fun. I guess people are tuning in and enjoying it, but you've got this whole other audience on Dracus 360 that you're neglecting when you do this Twitch stuff. So I've more or less put that on hold. I still have the Twitch channel up. It's pretty dead. I haven't streamed in months, possibly over a year. And that's just one of those things that I don't need to do that right now. And I can give it up, frankly, for a time anyway. Maybe I'll come back to it after Where We Cannot Go, after life calms down a little bit. We'll see. But that's something that I can give up and sacrifice. Where We Cannot Go is something I can't, or really, really don't want to. I've come too far in it. It means too much. I like the story of it too much. And I feel an unusually strong obligation to you guys in particular to complete it. And I intend to. So I want you all to know that after some of the reflection I've done in 2024, some of the lessons I've learned in 2024, my hope is that I can trim down the amount of side hobby projects that I have, so that I really can refocus on Where We Cannot Go and get that wind back in my sails on it. Maybe this is a risk of being too honest. I don't intend that to sound virtue signally, but maybe I'm sharing too much or opening my heart up too much. But I feel like I can. I feel like I can on this channel, and I feel like if you guys dislike it, well then, hey, at least I was clear with you on where I stand. So that's kind of the disappointing progress report in 2024. Long story short, progress was made. Important scenes were filmed. We still have a lot ahead of us. I would still say we're about 85% done with all filming for the series, and my hope is that in 2025 we will have everything filmed. That's my New Year's resolution, or one of many, but certainly my most important New Year's resolution. Okay, so that's Where We Cannot Go, and the status on it. Now, in a lot of these videos, or a lot of these update videos, I will drop a couple details about Where We Cannot Go that maybe I hadn't revealed before. I've been very reticent to share details about where we kind of go, because I don't want you guys to know too much about the story until it's ready, until it's finally ready and it's good to go. And that way you can experience the story in its context without any reveals. I think the blinder you go into it, the better. However, I realize it's taken a very long time, and so I feel every time I do one of these updated videos, I should share a little bit more about the story, stuff that I don't think is plot spoilery, just some background details that maybe I hadn't shared before, because there are things I can share that would not spoil the main plot. So I think the first thing I will do is talk a little bit about the connection to What We Cannot See, where the world of What We Cannot See ended at the end of that series, and what its state is leading into Where We Cannot Go. So we'll go ahead and do a recap for anyone who watched What We Cannot See and just needs a brief refresher. So What We Cannot See takes place in the New Land, the house of the series, and there was a really brutal, bloody war between the minifigs and the Bionicles of that house. It was just vicious and horrible, and it ended well for one side and not so well for the other. Gavlai in the new canon, she was very close to completing her transformation into a Biocene, which is a creature from What We Cannot See, but in any case, she was very close to achieving a goal that would give her total control of the house and let her almost like not warp reality, but transform the house and just impose her will across it and completely destroy her enemies, the Minifig Resistance. But the Minifig Resistance, with their Bionicle allies, came together, defeated Gavla. She's dead, gone, the war is over, and the Minifigs won. And so the only surviving Bionicle from that conflict was Icarax. And so he lives with the Minifigs now. The Minifig Resistance, which is now reforming itself into something more like a proper state, proper nation, they are rebuilding from the ashes of war. Currently, the former Prime Minister of the Minifigs, his name is Mike Bates, longtime character of What We Cannot See. He has abdicated. He's given up his position of power. He sort of feels, my job here is done. I led my people to safety, to victory. I can retire, more or less. So Mike has retired. He's now a private citizen. He has transferred power to a man named Eugene Baxter, former colonel within the Minifig military. And Eugene is now overseeing the reconstruction efforts in the wake of this horrible, horrible war. Icarax, the surviving Bionicle, he's close friends with Mike, and so he and Mike are both private citizens in this new post-war world. Everything seems to be going fairly well. There are no issues. Something comes in. Something happens. Something changes this equilibrium, this peaceful state, pretty dramatically. It's sudden. No one's expecting it. And when it comes, it throws a wrench into everything. It changes Minifig society. It changes the world that they live in. It alters people's perception of what they thought was safe and what isn't. Here's the gist. Here's the summary. So at some point during the reconstruction efforts under Eugene Baxter, a distress call is picked up on Minifig radios. It is a looping message, an automated message. It's a recording of someone speaking, and the message repeats on and on and on. It's garbled at first, but it keeps going. It is some kind of distress call. And I won't give spoilers as to what that distress call is, where it's coming from. What I will say is, after the frequency and the recording itself are analyzed by the minifigs in the New Land, they are roughly able to ascertain the origin of the source, the location of the distress call, where it is coming from. They don't know who's sending it, but they have an idea of where it's coming from. And so, that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. There is a response to this distress call. There's a response to this looping message. And from that response, the story of Where Can I Go, or the world of Where Can I Go, I would say that's where the world of What We Cannot See begins to transform into the world of Where We Cannot Go. How does the Minifig Society respond to that message? But the other thing about this all is that Where We Cannot Go, it does not just take place in the New Land House, in the House of What We Cannot See. I've talked about how it takes place outdoors. There are outdoor sequences, but there are other locations as well. And so there's also stuff happening in those locations simultaneously to what's happening in the New Land House of What We Cannot See. So yeah, that's hopefully it gives you some idea of the nature of the story, part of the kind of instigating events that lead into the plot of Where We Cannot Go. And yeah, any more than that, feel a little wary of sharing at this stage. But what I will also share, and one thing I do try to share, is I try to talk a little bit about new characters to the story, or characters that will be coming into Where We Cannot Go that were not present in What We Cannot See. There are a few returning characters from What We Cannot See. I'm not going to say who they are, but there are a few that will be returning. For the most part, the roster of characters in Where We Cannot Go are brand new, but there are some returning characters, so that there is a kind of connective link with What We Cannot See. One of the new characters that I feel content sharing now, it's not a spoiler, he shows up fairly early in the plot in Where We Cannot Go, is a character called Krigus, and I've put a picture of him up here on screen. Now, I think in one of the update videos, I talked about how Where We Cannot Go, it used up almost my entire Bionicle collection, all the spare parts. Lots of parts were made for Bionicle models in Where We Cannot Go. And I think I said that Where We Cannot Go has, to date, the largest Bionicle mock I've ever made. That's this guy. That's Krigus. In terms of my own roster of mocks from the past and all the models that I've made with Bionicle, Krigus is... I know some people make enormous Bionicle mocks, so I'm not saying like he's the biggest Bionicle mock that's ever been made. Certainly not. But just within my list of mocks and my experience mocking, Krigus is a behemoth. He's an enormous Bionicle. He's a very heavy model, as you might be able to tell from the size of the figure. And he's a critical part of the plot. I won't say anything more. But one thing I will share about the fact that there are Bionicles returning in Where We Cannot Go, as you know, in What We Cannot See, the Bionicle race got pretty shafted, and things did not end well for them. And so Icarax was the last surviving Bionicle in the New Land House. So I know that some people are... I did read a comment or two saying, oh, I guess Bionicles are coming back and Where We Cannot Go. Okay, almost like that might be, voiding the significance of the loss of the Bionicles and What We Cannot See. I want to add a little bit of clarity to that. Yes, Bionicles are returning in Where We Cannot Go. Frankly, part of it is it would not feel like a continuation of What We Cannot See if there wasn't that push and pull, that clash, and that presence of both minifigs and Bionicles. I think that was one of the identifying features of What We Cannot See as a series, that it had both of those types of Lego figures in it. And so Alex and I wanted to preserve that for Where We Cannot Go. There are Bionicles in Where We Cannot Go, but they are not Bionicles that exist in the New Land House. It's not like there is a brand new community of Bionicles in the New Land House that have just been living in hiding or have just been discovered now. That's not where this new group of Bionicles reside. Not in the New Land House. I won't say where they are. That's part of the revelation of the plot. But yeah, that's I want to add some clarity to that. That the New Land House is, for the most part, occupied by minifigs and what they have built from the remnants of their war with Gavlai and her Bionicle armies. So there's that. And yeah, so Krigus is an important character in the plot. He's an enormous mock, and I'll share that with you. Then I'll also share a couple pictures of this mock here, this character here. I am not going to... She's a brand new character to the story, but I'm not going to share her name. It's not a spoiler. She's brand new, but the revelation of her name is kind of a plot point. It's not huge, but it's one thing at this stage I want you guys to see when the final product is ready. Because a couple scenes, power of a couple scenes, hopefully will hinge on kind of the name that she has in the story. So, but she is extremely critical to the plot. She's been around since the earliest brainstormings of the plot. And she's remained consistent, and I'm really excited to share her and Krigus and all the other new characters with you guys. So there's that. Well, I won't share any more about her. Now I want to talk a little bit about some reflections I've been having on What We Cannot See, and that background, the background story of Where We Cannot Go, that's informing Where We Cannot Go. I think in the past I've shared that What We Cannot See is it's very embarrassing for me. I made it when I was an adolescent, and recently I've been growing more at peace with it, and I will say that it's certainly not perfect. It's certainly profoundly flawed and incredibly cringy and embarrassing. But I feel like I'm now of the view that it was a necessary thing that I had to go through in order to get to Where We Cannot Go, which I think is a superior story, pretty much in every way. And I think Where We Cannot Go will make What We Cannot See really worth it. That's my hope, anyway. You guys ultimately are going to be the judge of that. But that's just that's now kind of how I am, how I feel emotionally about What We Cannot See. I will say there are aspects of the ending of What We Cannot See that trouble me. I actually, just out of curiosity, I did a rewatch of season 3 of What We Cannot See recently, and it's got its merits. There's moments in it that I think turned out okay, even all these years later. But the ending troubles me. And I think part of it is there was a lot of what I thought unnecessary death of characters. It kind of felt like I was trying to manufacture tragedy and drama with some of the deaths of those characters. Certainly, I think Sukard was a character that it was important that he sacrificed himself in some way at the end, because he lived a pretty troubled life and did some very bad things. And so I think it was important for him to make that sacrifice to atone and show that he had grown as a character and was prepared to lay down his life for something bigger than himself. So I think it was good that Sukard, gave his life at the end. But Dagmia, I'm kind of bothered didn't make it out of the end of What We Cannot See alive, because she, I think, despite the fact that it was pretty cringy that I was voicing her, even though she's a female character, I think she was one of What We Cannot See's better characters. I gotta say, and I don't mean that as like patting myself on the back. What a great writer or storyteller I am. I just mean that, like, even after all these years, I watch her and I listen to some of her lines and how she came off, and it's not great. It's not perfect. There's plenty of problems, but I still think overall she came away from the series as a pretty cool character. She was generally a good person. She was fighting for her friends, trying to save her friends. She wanted what was best for the world, and she was really invested in a group of people that she had almost no connection to, the minifigs. But she wanted to help them anyway because she's just a good person. And there wasn't any need for her to die for any kind of poetic justice, like in the way of Sukard, So I'm kind of sad that she's gone, but I'm not retconning anything. She's not getting revived in Where We Cannot Go. No, that's just it's just an observation I had rewatching season 3 of What We Cannot See. So these many years onward. Icorax. Here's another part of What We Cannot See that's challenging for me. Icorax is a colossal asshole. He is a huge asshole. He has done some horrendously wicked things in his life. I can see a bit of charm. He's hot under the collar. He gets angry. Sometimes he often gets carried away with himself. But I guess there's a sort of righteous anger to him. I don't know. Does this all sound self-congratulatory that I'm talking well of the characters that I wrote and created a long time ago? It probably does. I should probably get off this. But again, these are just reflections on what I think worked and what I think didn't about What We Cannot See in the past. And know that none of the canon is being changed. That video I made, that timeline, that is, I think, the story of What We Cannot See distilled in the best way that I can put it together as, and Where We Cannot Go is not deviating from that. So the characters who died in What We Cannot See, season 3, at the very end of the story, in the conclusion, they're gone. They're gone. That includes Gavli too, you know. So she's gone, and so yeah, that's that. That's that. And I think that's everything I wanted to share with you guys. I can't think of anything else that I needed to get off my chest. But just a general, I guess, an apology to you guys about how long this has taken. Just a general sense that I know how long it's taken. I know what an ask it is to stay involved in the channel with this huge gap. Nothing's happening on the channel. But again, part of that is my feeling that like I really shouldn't upload anything onto the channel until I complete Where We Cannot Go. I will say as a final thought that there was a time where I thought I wouldn't be able to finish What We Cannot See. I had this sense even in season 2 of What We Cannot See that season 3 would be the final season of that story. But for a time, it sort of felt like this distant impossibility when I was a kid making What We Cannot See. I sort of felt like, oh, I'll never get it done. I'll never get it done. It's just, the series is going to be unfinished and I'll just never get it done. Somehow I found a way to film it, and I think something similar is going to happen with Where We Cannot Go. There are some times where, you know, things don't go right. You know, the lighting is wrong, or there's an issue with the audio, or there's an issue with the models standing up or falling over, where I just slump over and think, God, when is this going to be over? Like, But I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way to film this. I'm going to find a way to get it to you. And I hope you guys like it. Maybe you won't. But I feel that this is the right decision for the story. This is the right evolution of What We Cannot See. And so I want to deliver it to you guys. The other aspect of it, the other aspect I'll say on that is plans for the future of Dracus 360. So I think Dracus 360 is going to be pretty inactive until Where We Cannot Go is completed. That's just fact. I may upload here and there some updates, maybe a mock video if I make a mock that's really great, but honestly I haven't been mocking a whole lot since Where We Cannot Go started because most of my parts are being used for Where We Cannot Go. But if Where We Cannot... So there's two possibilities. Where We Cannot Go gets released, everyone hates it. Everyone thinks it's terrible. It's garbage. People give it a bunch of thumbs down, and no one likes it. That's one possibility. In which case, I'm still going to see it through to the end. I'm still going to upload it all to YouTube and make of it what you will. Trash it all you want. At least it's done. That's one possibility. And then if that's the case, leave it be. Never touch it again. That's that. The other possibility is people like it. Even some people. Even a minority of people. You know? Maybe some people hate it. Maybe some people like it. But some people like it. Enough people like it. That my plan is I don't think I'm going to film anything related to What We Cannot See or Where We Cannot Go ever after Where We Cannot Go is done. I just don't think I will. I don't. And the story will reflect that, I hope. But there are a lot of aspects of the new story of Where We Cannot Go, the way it develops the world in the universe, that there's a lot going on in the background of those stories, a lot of lore, for lack of a better term, that will not make it into the videos, but that is hopefully implied and that could use further development. My plan is, if the reception to Where We Cannot Go is generally positive, I will continue writing about it. I'll continue writing stories about it, written segments. I may even narrate them on the channel as sort of pseudo audiobooks, as a way to flesh out the universe, explore unanswered questions, develop characters, go into some of the new characters' backstory and kind of how they fit into the universe and how they came into the characters that they are at the start of Where We Cannot Go, flesh them out a little bit. That's my plan, but that will only occur if the response to Where We Cannot Go is positive or generally positive. Just want to say that. And I think there was one other thing I wanted to share with you guys, but it's not coming to mind, and I may have to leave it there. But yeah, I do think there are things I can... Oh, this is what that was. It came to me now. So Where We Cannot Go, I really like the direction that it's going. And part of that is because I had great collaboration with Alex. He helped brainstorm the series with me, brainstorm the story. And I think we came up with something great. I do. If I didn't think it was great, if I didn't think it was meaningful, I wouldn't be devoting this much time and effort into it, you know? I wouldn't be. I'm certainly not getting paid for it, So I'm doing it because I think the story has merit and I like the direction. But I will say that in many ways, I see it as a return to form of What We Cannot See, in the sense that it is returning to some of what I think was the essence of the first season of What We Cannot See, the original release of What We Cannot See. Now, interpret that how you will. I won't break that down too much. Hopefully, you'll see what I mean when the series comes out. But mainly, it's some of the themes that I thought were, even to this day, that I thought were interesting that the first season of What We Cannot See traded in, or at least explored, or tried to explore. I think those, I wanted to get back to those a little bit more in Where We Cannot Go. And that's the story that Alex and I came up with. Hopefully does that. Because I feel that What We Cannot See, especially after season 1, like season 2, it turned into like a silly revenge story where Icrax just was getting revenge on that Bitch Gavlai, yeah, like that was what the story was about. And it just kind of became a little juvenile. I don't know. I think it got away from some of the interesting essence of season 1 of What We Cannot See with the later installments. But there are good things about What We Cannot See, or things that I think did work. They're few and far between. Tiny little points of light amid the gelatinous mass of cringe that What We Cannot See is. These tiny little kernels of goodness. Tiny. And so what we tried to do was isolate what those little things were that worked about What We Cannot See. And that includes some of the enduring mysteries of What We Cannot See, things that were revealed in Pioneers. I feel like Pioneers, those seasons were a big, they added a new dimension to the story that a lot of people, from my understanding, connected with and liked. And so I feel like Where We Cannot Go is a good mix of the themes that season 1 of What We Cannot See, the original What We Cannot See episodes, that those tried to, explore. It's a good mix of that with some of the good new additions of the story that came with Pioneers, some of the mysteries related to that. And I hope you'll all be pleased. I feel like we've come up with something that captures all of it, that distills the best of What We Cannot See, expands upon it in a more mature way. And and I've said before, I don't see Where We Cannot Go as What We Cannot See season 4. It is a new beast entirely. You'll see that hopefully with how it's presented, with how it's animated, just the general tone of the series. It's pretty different from What We Cannot See. But the soul of What We Cannot See, I think, is still there. Maybe this is salesmanship on my part. I'm trying to get you guys to be excited about Where We Cannot Go. But yeah. Anyway, I'm looking at the time on the recording, so it's over 30 minutes that I've talked. This is longer than I had hoped. I knew this was going to happen, doing off the cuff like I did. But yeah, I wanted to do this. I wanted to connect with you guys, and I wanted to share where I am and let you all know that I intend to refocus on Where We Cannot Go and go into 2025 with renewed energy at tackling this project. For all its problems, for all the difficulties, for all the hair-pulling frustrations that this series that making Where We Cannot Go has given me, I mean this. There were moments throughout the filming of Where We Cannot Go, moments where I was stressed and afraid I was going to lose everything or I wouldn't be able to pull things off. Then I did. And I will just say that filming Where We Cannot Go, even amid all its problems, it's given me a joy and a sense of fulfillment that I don't think I've ever had from anything else. And that's that. I mean, I'm still young and foolish, so I'm sure fulfillment will come later in life, beyond this silly little series. But it's been a great ride so far, and as much as I'm looking forward to seeing it come to an end, it'll be sad. It'll be sad when it's over. So anyway, I'm getting sentimental. It's probably a sign I need to head off. But folks, thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, happy New Year. Don't get too plastered, please. Stay safe. Drive safe. Don't drive if you're drinking, of course. You know all that. You know all that. Take an Uber. Be safe. Be safe, folks. If you're still watching, if you're still invested in this channel, you mean the world to me. This channel is my most personal outlet on the internet. Other than this channel and other than YouTube in general. I guess Twitch, but, mostly YouTube. I don't have social media. So this is really my main outlet for how to express myself online. And I just really am grateful to you guys for sticking with me. Totally understand if you guys want to leave, if you think this is taking too long. Totally understand. We'll never fault you for it. But for those of you who stay, you have my gratitude. You really do. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. And I look forward to when this thing gets done. I think you'll like it. I really do. Okay. This has been Dracus360. Have a very happy new year. And we'll talk soon. Take care, everyone.